We're live.
We're live. We are live. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, good, thanks. Good. Yeah, it's good. It's Friday end of the week. It's raining outside, but hey, life is good. Life is good. And have you been out much? Have you been out much?
Actually like the rain. I do.
Oh, do you?
I do like the rain. I love walking in the rain. I just find it very as long as you're wrapped up warm.
Put your hat on.
Yeah, I find it very cozy. So yeah, I went for a walk first thing this morning, and
Right.
in the rain, and it was awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it.
It is nice. It's refreshing, and especially when you're in the park. It's like, oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
When you walk through the park, yeah, good.
And you've got, I think that's, you know, I mean, today actually we're talking about self-esteem, aren't we? Self-esteem, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about, you know, it's the way you approach life, and rain is one of those things, isn't it? You know, you can choose to complain about the rain, or you can choose to enjoy it, you know, and appreciate it, and
yes,
you know, and it's a choice, isn't it?
Yes. One of my mentors, Tony V, and Tony V actually worked with Tony Robbins. He was trained by Tony Robbins, and Tony and Nikki always taught me when you approach life, approach everything as a gift. So what's the gift in this? You know, and situation which maybe it's not going right for you. Well, what's the gift in this? And then from that you can find what's the solution. So you know, everyone out there watching it, if you're going through a hard time, which we all are, but just look for the gold in this. Look for the gifts, and you know, just like what you just said, it's really about attitude, isn't it?
It is, and I guess that, you know, the topic for today is self-esteem. It's difficult to stay positive when you've got low self-esteem.
Very, very, very difficult. If you think of positivity, it's almost like generating energy, you know, and it's hard to generate positive energy, when you are have a low esteem about yourself. So I don't know about you, but I've lived a lot of my life where I didn't feel good enough. So the esteem, how you look at yourself was, I'm going to go into this meeting, they're bound to say no, you know, or I'm gonna go to the social occasion and no one's going to talk to me. And I guess if people out there are thinking these thoughts, then they can then say, right, okay, I need to build up my esteem. What about yourself? Have you ever felt that low where you thought, where you've doubted yourself and you felt that your esteem was low?
Yeah, I mean, speaking from my own perspective, how can I best explain it? I would never have acknowledged that I had low self-esteem, because I think from an intellectual point of view, I wouldn't have considered myself to have low self-esteem. However, I think that the voice in the back of your head that I try to not pay attention to is the one that can sometimes be the loudest, you know, and so being, you know, relatively confident and positive in my mindset, and I have been for a long time, I almost ignored the things that were telling me I wasn't good enough for X, Y, Z, because it didn't really match my, you know, kind of persona. But as we talked about on previous episodes, I think the manifestation of that was, you know, my fear of cold calling, my, you know, the panic attacks that I would get if I was to do public speaking or presenting when I was younger. And it always confused me. And I don't know whether this is going to be helpful for people or not, because everybody's different, aren't they? But it confused me because from an intellectual perspective, I couldn't understand why I was having the reaction that I had when I tried to do my public speaking or, you know, present. And the reaction was a physical one. And ultimately, I guess, I mean, what do you think, David? Surely that has to do with my own self-esteem, my own inner beliefs of whether or not I'm good enough for the people I'm presenting to.
Yeah, well, when you're presenting, you're exposed. So you're standing there and you're saying, "Look at me," and then you've got to do the talking, which is uh, on many levels. You're wondering, what are they thinking? They're judging you. You have then the fear of, well, am I going to sound stupid? Am I going to fluff my lines? And all these fears are just stacked up in one place. And the problem is, if you give that speech or that talk and it doesn't go well, then it can detrimentally affect your self-esteem, because you think you've proven yourself. Well, I am not good enough. They're laughing at me, or that didn't go well. Um, I would say to anyone out there, I've had that where one of my first ever talks, actually my first ever proper talk, in a hotel in Cardiff, and it was total. Well, it just wasn't good, and I stood there feeling stupid. But I could have A, gone that way and just never spoken again, or B, I thought, well, okay, other people can do it. I must find a way to do it. So I had to battle my own lack of self-worth and confidence, and I that's why I can teach it now, because I've been there, and I understand someone when they say to me, I'm having panic attacks getting on the phone, or I'm having panic attacks getting onto a Zoom. That's what they can say. I'm doing a Zoom presentation and I'm just feeling sweaty palms, So I can so I can clearly say to someone, yeah, I've been there, done it. Sweaty palms is not the issue. The issue is what's going on before you get to the sweaty palms. And this is something that I always think the self-esteem, which I was keen to do this episode today, is that it's something we can build. You're not defeated. Anyone out there thinks they've got low self-esteem. In fact, if anyone out there's watching this right now or on record, please just think about, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think your self-esteem is? Do you take compliments easily? Do you feel good about yourself? Do you praise yourself? Because it's good to praise it. And do you say, right, well done, you've done well this week? Or do you do the opposite? So find out from 0 to 10, 10 being high, and be honest with yourself. I think being honest with yourself is a good start. Just finding out, right, I'm a 4, or right, I think I'm a 6, whatever. And then the whole point, isn't it, Grant, is to find out, where's the gap? Where's the gap that I can improve from?
It's a real balance, this is, and I have kind of mixed feelings about self-esteem in general, because I know that people that have got very low self-esteem, they are, well, the ones that have got extremely low self-esteem, they're bordering on having, clinical depression or medical issues. And the context that we always come at from in these sessions is from an entrepreneurial point of view, and self-esteem is so important when you're an entrepreneur. And to a certain extent, surely your self-esteem should be given a boost the minute you actually take the plunge to become an entrepreneur, because it's the path less trodden. It takes guts, courage, a lot of faith in yourself to say, I'm going to do this on my own. So, and yet I still meet entrepreneurs regularly who don't see how good they are, and they don't realize. Now, there's a big difference between that and somebody who has got low self-esteem because they're not putting the work in to actually improve their esteem. Because let's face it, some people using the presentation, some people might not put the effort in and actually do a bad presentation, and it may be received badly because they didn't put the work in. Now, you can't go complain about having low self-esteem if you're not willing to put the effort in to be proud of what you actually deliver.
Mm,
You
mm,
know, so when we have a conversation like this, I'm thinking about the people that do put the effort in, that do
mm,
actually deliver,
mm,
but still somehow don't realize how good they are.
mm.
I meet lots of people like that.
I think we're then going into excuse me. Yeah, there's a lot of people you meet and you think, wow, you are good. You don't know how good you are. And
Mm,
I think that then we're going into self-confidence territory, where they just don't have faith in themselves, where they are no, they think, oh, I can do that naturally. It was a few years ago. I watched this video, and it was like a video with a lot of experts, say like you and I. Sometimes we forget what we know,
mm,
and I remember thinking from my own point of view, I was thinking that sometimes I assume everyone knows what I know, but I have to give myself a slap and say, no, no, elaborate, because they probably don't. And it's not me. It's me assuming, but it's also me trying to um, for someone not to feel less than me. I want people. The last thing I ever want is someone to feel inferior. That's the last thing I want to do, because I felt like that in school and in college. And you think that's the last thing I would ever want to feel, because it's you don't want anybody to feel like that. You want to feel equal, but on the same terms. What you've just said. If somebody's not putting the work in, they've got a poor work ethic, then again, what's their motivation? And they can't, there's no complaints then. They can't complain. They're not putting the work in as an entrepreneur. But it's those people out there who are fantastic at what they do, say a web designer or a graphic designer, who just, they don't, or when they do pick up the call, then they're not puffed out chest, they're not leading the conversation, they are shrinking in the conversation. And that's the type of people really we've got to think, right, they're going on the calls, or they're making they're doing the work, but there's something which is stopping them from, in this case, closing the call or closing the deal.
mm.
And that could be self-esteem. That could be the way they're coming across in the call. They're saying all the right things, but perhaps their tonality of voice. I mean, you've got experience with that with members. I mean, can you relate to that in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, hugely. And I think it'd be good actually, just at this point, as you mentioned, self-esteem, self-confidence.
Mm,
There's a subtle difference
mm.
between the two. I don't know whether you want to try and define the difference, or you want me to have a go.
Yeah, well, you can go first if you like. Fire away.
I think, yeah, when I okay, yeah. So self-esteem for me is something that is a lot more like, you could be feeling confident one day and, not confident the next day, and
Mm,
it's a bit more transient confidence. And self-esteem is something, for me, it's a little bit deeper. It's
mm,
deeper rooted. Your sense of self-esteem. I think that's something that is underlying, that takes a lot more work to get right.
mhm,
Because when I'm coaching people, you can have days where people are up and they're confident, and they're presenting as confident, but
mm,
if their self-esteem's not right,
mm.
it's easily lost.
Yes. Yeah.
Self-esteem is, in my view, is something that is, this is a foundation.
Mm. Yes, agree with you totally there. Self-esteem is just present, right at the bottom. It's there how you look at yourself,
Mm,
and it's how you view yourself in the world. Whereas confidence is situational. You can be so
mm,
confident in a one-to-one talking to people, but when you're in a group, you've got no confidence. That's an example of situational confidence. I know some guys who are super confident in groups, speaking with other guys, but when it comes to the opposite sex, they just they get all
that's a good example.
tongue tied, and they
Mm,
lost it, and they don't know what to say to the opposite sex, and that's just an example of situational lack of confidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, building on what you just said, you can actually build that. If you're confident in those situations, then you can then build your conversational skills with the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever your preference. That's up to you, but it's a skill. I think confidence is a skill. Self-esteem, as you say, it's a feeling. It's a feeling of self-connection.
Mm. It reminds me, this week on Wednesday, I did a Facebook Live for the Blam partners. Hello, those guys that are watching. Which I have to say, I really enjoyed it because what I did was I chose my 20 favorite books that I'd listened to on Audible. If yours would have been on Audible, mate, it would have been there. Yeah, if Let It Go would have been on Audible, it would have been one of them.
Soon.
But I really enjoyed it because I went through the archive. A lot of those books I've read more than once. I've got sort of go-to books, and I try and listen to something every day. Because my belief is, that audio is a fantastic way of getting straight in here.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff we talk about, we're talking about self-esteem here, self-confidence. A lot of the stuff we talk about, you've got to feed the mind every single day. It reminded me in your book, actually. You've got your 5 rules to live by. There's one in here. In fact, I like all of them. Be relentless. Be relentless. You've got to be relentless in your pursuit of self-improvement, self-development, in my view. Because the things that we talk about on these Friday sessions, it's all you're the mind coach, mate. It's all up here. And there are tools that we can use, and a lot of them are in here to help sort this out. But you've got to be relentless. You can't read a book and fix yourself.
No.
You've got to take the content and you've got to apply it relentlessly. And with your self-esteem, that's one of the things you have to work on. And the reason I've come a long way around, on Wednesday when I did my books, there was one book that's just stood out in my mind. It wasn't even a business book. It was a novel about a life story. There's a book called Drug of Choice. And it's about a Dutch guy who became a really successful entrepreneur, as he is now, in affiliate marketing. But it's a fascinating story because he only had one arm. And he talks about, and he grew up over in Holland, and he talks about confidence and self-esteem a lot in that, because growing up as a young man, only having one arm, he had a lot of confidence issues and a lot of self-esteem issues, because particularly, as you just said, when it came to talking to the opposite sex, when it comes to getting girls, he actually became a coach in how to pick up women. That's why he and this guy was a guy with with a massive handicap, literally, that if your self-esteem's not right, you're going to be thinking that is something that people are not going to be attracted to. And what he proved was, when you get your mindset right, your self-esteem right, your confidence, it doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, where you're from, you're an attractive person. You're an attractive person. And he taught that. And the first thing we think of when we think of attraction is the opposite sex, or or the whatever gender or partner you're looking for. That's what we think about. And and it's all up here. It's all up here.
And just to add to that, when your self-esteem is quite high, and when you do like yourself, it energetically comes across different. So then when you're with someone, they can feel your energy. If you like yourself, they can feel your energy. But if you don't like yourself, you seem to shrink. Your energy seems to shrink. And there's actually science behind this. And there was a guy back in the 1950s, 60s, Kurlian, who was like a Russian photographer who took
Curly, the photographer. Yeah, the photographer. Yeah.
he took photographs of people and showed that your aura changes when your energy changes when you're in a different mood. And so everyone out there, I mean, just identify where in your life that perhaps you don't feel good enough, or you feel that you don't feel you're at the races, and go to work on it. Because as soon as you change, you come across differently. It just happens, and you can't force that. It has to be an inside job, and it's a mindset thing. When, as Grant just said, you've got to be relentless. And it's like I went running this morning, and all I was saying to myself was trust the universe. I did it for about a mile, trust the universe, and all I'm saying to myself is trust, which is the opposite of overthinking. Because overthinking is like, oh, it's got to go this way or that way. This is going to happen. So I'm saying to myself, trust the universe. Which, if you're spiritual or you believe in God, whatever you want to say, just trust. Trust that you're going okay. Stop being over controlling, overthinking. Trust. So I did that for about a mile. Trust the universe, trust the universe, and I felt really good. And it just stops you from overthinking. And that's the case. That was my relentless. I was not going to let any negative thoughts in my head first thing in the morning, because it can happen. So I went out there. Okay, it was raining and whatever. I don't care. I've got to do these things every day to maintain my well-being. And that's just an example of you've got to be relentless. And I wouldn't have been like that years ago, but you just have to be. You have to do the right things every day, and it's only small things. Like you've mentioned before, cold showers. It's a thing. You just got to do it because there's a physiological reason, mental reason why we do these things. But yeah, I mentioned relentless because it's not going crazy. It's just maybe 5 minutes of meditation, or just as Grant mentioned, audio. Just listen to audio while you're hoovering. I mean, earlier on, I was hoovering. So while I was hoovering,
you rock star.
Yeah, I was like headphones on, and she was leaving the house thinking, "What's he doing? Hoovering?"
You're like Eddie Mercury and all the old MTV thing,
Yeah. So hoovering and listening to an audio course, but just got to do it. Just got to do it, and it's just effective use of your time, I guess. I mean, I bet you're in the car and you are listening to audio in the car. I bet you're.
That's where I do when I'm in the gym and I'm in the car, and I've got some, and that's how I get to consume so much. Because if you're commuting, or or sometimes I'll just sit down and just listen. Sometimes I'll do that, but it's habit for me. And the whole thing about being positive, we've got to do a session on being positive, by the way. Positivity.
Yeah.
I think it's such an important thing to make an effort to be positive.
Yes.
But that doesn't come naturally,
No. I'm going to tell a story. A lot of you might have heard this, but anyway, I'm going to say it. It's an old Cherokee story called The Two Wolves. You probably heard this, Graham. And inside of us, we've got two wolves, and they're battling each other. And one wolf represents fear, anger, pain, criticism, resentment, hate, all the nasty stuff, and it's inside of us. And the other wolf is love, joy, freedom, happiness, all the nice stuff. And they're at war. They're fighting with each other. And the question is, to everyone out there, who wins and why? And the shortcut answer to that is the one you feed, the one that you feed every day. So we do have a choice which one we're going to feed. So we've got these two wolves, and if you just choose to feed the one that is that part of your life, it will develop. And there will be times, when we're feeling like shit. It's not about just being positive. It's about saying, right, being resourceful. Right, what's the solution? Being resourceful minded, solution minded. Right, how can I get past this? What's the gift? Who do I know can help me? Rather than, how do I survive? Oh, it's happened again. And that's
Why
exactly,
me?
yeah, like what Grant was saying.
Mm.
It's being positive, but also resourceful as well to helping yourself. Because when you do that, immediately as a byproduct, you become positive as a byproduct. You just become a little bit happier. Right, didn't have a good day, but tomorrow I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna make it a good day. As Grant Cardone, is it Grant Cardone? Tomorrow I'm gonna make a comeback.
Is that one of his? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, one of his tomorrow, and one of his somebody his yes.
No, I think you're spot on there about you've got to feed the right wolf. And a lot of people, I mean, I'll give you a quick example of this. As something that was taught to me many years ago, and it's habit again now. But if somebody asks me, "Yeah, how you doing?" I'm going to say, "I'm awesome. I'm awesome." Now most people you speak to will go, okay, well, yeah, all right, or so, or oh, blooming hell.
Yes.
Now you're just feeding the wrong wolf with that kind of attitude.
Yes.
Whether you're awesome or not,
Yes.
or whether I'm awesome or not, that's the answer you're going to get.
Yes, and that's also it reminds me of Keith Harrell, the speaker, dearly departed late Keith Harrell, and he was a speaker in America, and he used to have a stutter. He grew up with a stutter, and he couldn't talk, and he went from there to become one of the biggest speakers in America in the 90s and early millennium. And he used to say, when people ask me how I am, I say, super fantastic. I am awesome. I'm super fantastic. And people, he'll be at the airport. Why are you positive? He said, because I choose to be. I thought, wow, brilliant.
I need to turn it up a notch. That's made me pathetic.
People will be driving past you and you're on the phone. I'm super fantastic.
I'm absolutely awesome.
It's just,
people would stop asking you.
Exactly. That's us.
Don't ask him how he is.
Fantastic. Don't ask him. Whatever you do, don't ask him what it is. You think he's just had a shot of vodka. It's brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Awesome, mate. Well, we're getting close to the end, buddy. Any final thoughts on self-esteem? Any little tips or nuggets you want to leave people with?
What I would urge everyone out there, please don't compare your business to others or your life. Don't do it. It won't help you. I would say the first thing you do if you want to improve your self-esteem is stop doing that. And if you find that difficult, speak to someone who doesn't do it. Just get it from the horse's mouth. Who doesn't do it? And ask them what their attitude is.
Yeah, no, that's good advice, because I think and I, the thing I would say is just understand that this sort of stuff that we talk about, it doesn't happen on its own. You've got to acknowledge that you have to do work to feed the right wolf. You do. Your self-esteem, if you've got low self-esteem, there's only one way to fix it, and it's you've got to take action, and you've got to start using the tools. Find your gurus and apply it. This book is a great, I'm sorry to keep plugging your book, mate, but that's what, that's what it's all about, isn't it? In there, it's about getting down to the crux of it and working on it. There's tasks in there. There's little things you can do, tasks that you can undertake that are going to help you pre-program and reprogram your mind to achieve things.
Maybe I just had an idea, Grant, before we go. Maybe we can have a Q&A session with the partners at some stage. Proper training. Q&A.
Well, I'm going to put you on your toes now. 11th of June, Blam Partners.
Yeah.
I'm doing a boot camp. It's a Friday.
Okay.
11th of June from 2 o'clock So any of you Blam partners that are watching, you know, I announced it on Wednesday. For any prospective Blam partners, we're going to do it live in the office, because we can now have, you know, live training.
Oh, in the office.
A real socially distanced training thing, as well as obviously there'll be lots of people online digitally. But yeah, if you're available,
yes,
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm calling it a boot camp. It comes with a health warning. It's going to be brutal, but I'm really excited.
What I say to everyone out there is, come to the boot camp. This is the first I know of it, and I'll try my best to be there, because sometimes, you know, being brutal is like, you know, say you want a new kitchen in your house. You've got to be brutal. Rip out the old kitchen, get rid of all the stuff. It's messy. Put the new kitchen in. It gets messy, but that's, you know, that's where one day, if you're looking back, thinking, I went through that journey where I tore up the way I thought and behaved, and I changed. My business changed. You know, I'm thinking, that sounds good.
Actually. Be ruthless. That's one of your. Be
ruthless with your, and what I meant by that is time and energy. Got to be ruthless with your time.
Yeah, got to be done. Brilliant. All right then, buddy. That was awesome. Thanks as always, mate. Absolute legend.
You're welcome.
And I will see you again very soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.